What is going on, everybody? It's Kiz here, and today we're going to be showing you guys the SMG clutch build I've been working on. Now, I think this build works great in 1v1 situations, sometimes 2v2 situations, but if you're running against people who are running the same exact build, it gets really tough, and most likely once you reload, you might die. Now, it is great for PvP, and when you do get against somebody in 1v1, if you have your build right and you have the right roles, you will win those fights, as you guys are seeing in this video. Now remember, when you do get focus fire or you get shot in the back and you're not using your weapon, you will go down because your armor is so low, but your health is high, but health is easy to eat through. And we're going to get into the exact specs of this build. Now I do want to say, if you guys have any questions on this, make sure you leave a comment down below, and if you enjoyed the video, always leave a thumbs up. But let's dive into the build itself. So if we get into the build, you can see that I am running the Demolitionist Specialization, and there's a couple reasons why, and I'll explain that at the end if you guys want to stick around for that. I am running 12 offensive, 4 blue, and 2 utility. Now you always want to stack the 4 blues, your mask, your chest, your holster, and your backpack, because you can get the biggest health rolls there, and you'll see some of the health rolls I have. Not all of them are God roll, but some of them are pretty high. Now I like using the MPX with the RPM of 935, and that's with the Allegro. And I always like running strained on my SMG when I'm running a crit chance, crit damage build. So we have 5% critical hit damage is gained for every 10% of your armor that is depleted. And since you're running a clutch build, your armor is probably always depleted, right? And that's why it works good. And then we have protective reload. When you are reloading, this helps because, say, when you need to reload, you can just reload and you'll be perfectly fine. You get that 10% bonus armor. Now, the one thing that does suck about this build is, if, like I said, if you're not firing your weapon, it doesn't work. A lot of people are running this vector right here, and I have one, and I just want to show you. They're running this vector. It does have less base damage, but it has a higher RPM, so it kind of makes up, and the mag size is 13 bullets more. Now, this one doesn't have strain, so that's why I'm not using it. Once I get strain, I'll probably play with both, and then a lot of people are running that extra, the 20% magazine capacity, or they like the fast reload on there. So that's really up to you. You really don't need to put another rate of fire on there because it's already 1,200. The reason I do like the MPX is in case I do miss shots, I can kind of recuperate and I won't be out of a magazine. Now with the high rate of fire on the Vector, if you miss a lot of shots, most of the time you just ran through your whole clip before you have time to like account for them strafing. So it's just really up to you on the two you want to run. Now the Vector, the higher RPM, if you hit your shots, will always win the fight. But if you miss a lot of shots, well, the MPX is where you'll probably win those battles right there. But I personally like the MPX. I like running different guns. And then for the secondary, you can run the Chatterbox or the Eagle Bearer. The Chatterbox is great because remember, you have Blabbermouth when holstered, reloading your weapon with 5 seconds, within 5 seconds after a kill, grants 15% rate of fire. And then the Eagle Bearer, what I like about it is when you initially start firing, you gain 10% bonus armor while firing your current weapon. So if you have a little bit of armor and you get that 10%, that kind of helps you to get back on track for hitting those crits. So it kind of protects you a little bit. And it's great for switching back and forth, right? Like if someone takes off and instead of reloading, you just swap to your Eagle Bearer and start nailing them. But the Chatterbox, Eagle Bearer, I'll let you guys decide. Play with the build, have fun. And then I always run the specialization weapon on there, and that's just the sidearm I usually run. Now, we are running 190k armor with 208k health, and I'll show you where I can improve the build. I just been missing those God roll pieces. We get into the mask. I'm running the Perfect Concussion Mask. It comes on the DNH, and then this is going to give me a health roll and a critical hit chance. Now, it gives me the 3-piece DNH too, so I get 5% accuracy, 10% critical hit damage, and 7% critical hit chance. The great thing about the DNH is they have a lot of offensive mods, and you'll see that on the other pieces. Now, Perfect Concussion gives you headshot, grants 20% headshots for 2 seconds. And since we're not using a marksman rifle, we're not worried about the second part, which is 5 seconds. But we get the 20% headshot as long as we're getting headshots, right? And then look at this. I have critical hit chance on here at 9.5, and then I have a health roll. My goal is to find this same mask that already has a critical hit chance of maybe like 5%, 3%, and then I'm going to roll a big health roll. I think I have a health roll of about 27k, and I think you can get this up to almost 40k health roll. So this is where I can gain almost another 30k health on this build, and since I have Vital on it, it's going to, increase that. So my mask is one of my weak points on here, so just keep that in mind. We go into the chest. This chest isn't the best chest, but I do love Wyvern because we get another 7% critical hit damage. So we're stacking the crit chance, crit damage. And then we have weapon damage on here, critical hit chance, and health. So I got the goal you want to get is 2 red rolls, and then hopefully you get some crit chance, crit damage, or weapon damage. And then you want to have whatever the other one you want to roll health on there. And I had a really high health roll of almost 56,000. And I put that on there. So that's really where you want to get a big chunk of your health on your chest piece too. And then we're running Berserk, of course, 8% weapon damage for every 20% max armor depleted. Our armor is going to be depleted all the way down, and we need to be using an SMG, AR, shotgun, or LMG, and we're using an SMG, 7 or more offensive. And great thing about Wyvern, it has 2 offensive, so you don't have to worry about wasting mod slots. So we got 5% SMG damage plus another 1.5% weapon damage, and then we have another 5% SMG damage plus 0.5 weapon damage. We get into the holster. Now, since we are going to be running an SMG, we want to have a Sokolov piece, and the holster is a great place to put that because you get 3 attributes and you can get the talent critical. Critical is great because you're already going to be hitting 60% without this talent right here. So having critical on there, that's going to add onto your critical hit damage. Now, I haven't got a piece. Well, ideally, I would like to get a piece that has critical hit chance, critical hit damage, and health. That would be God. So I haven't got that yet. So I just threw this 40k health roll on there, and that's the big chunk of health I'm getting. But I'm still looking for that Sokolov. 2 reds, critical hit chance, critical hit damage, and then health. And that's just going to increase my crit chance and crit damage. And that way I can, in another place where I have crit chance, maybe I already be capped at 60, then I can put it into critical hit damage. But yeah, so you want to have health here. You want to have 2 reds instead of this blue and 2 yellows. This is not a great piece, and I just haven't found one that has 2 reds and a yellow, and then I can roll it to a blue. We get into the knee pads. This is the second piece of Douglas and Harding, and this is where you want to stack critical hit chance right there. So that's going to help you hit that max at 60%. I love cloaked. When your armor is depleted, nearby enemy skills are disrupted for 10 seconds. This can occur every 30 seconds. So they're going to break your armor, right? And when they break your armor, cloak is going to kick in. It's going to disrupt their skills, and they can't heal. They can't pop skills on you, and it works really good. Now it has an offensive mod slot. That's why it's great to have Douglas and Harding. I told you it has really good offensive mods. And we have SMG damage on here and weapon damage. We get into the gloves. The gloves are the Alp Summit, and I really like these the best because it gives you an offensive mod slot. And then we can get skill haste, which, I mean, it's decent. We're not really taking advantage of it, but it's going to help our defender drone and our booster hive come back. Attributes 11% SMG damage, clutch, critical hits restore 20% missing health, and repair 1% missing armor. Now, I know there's a perfect clutch out there, but it doesn't really work good with this build because you lose out. I mean, you could, but you lose out on an offensive mod slot. So I have SMG damage and weapon damage on here. So that's an additional 4.5. You can get God Roll mod and put it in there, and it's going to be way better. And then clutch, we have to be at 4 for defensive, less so it works. And then we have SMG damage, which you can push this up to 13%. We dive into the backpack. So the backpack is our third piece of DNH, Douglas and Harding. We have our 4th health roll, which you can get this higher. I've seen way higher than this, but I'm at 35k is the highest roll I got right now. I have critical hit chance, weapon damage, and then the main efficient. I'm not really using this, but it's not bad, you know. I don't really use armor kits, so doesn't. Ideally, I would probably like to have vital and probably health on kill, something like that. And I think you could get health on kill on the backpack. I'm pretty sure. I don't have a piece right now, but I think you can. Let me know if you guys can get health on kill in the backpack. If not, then maybe put Harden. You can get skill duration for the defender drone, something like that. You really don't need that efficient, but I'm really using it for the vital. It has 2 red rolls and a blue, and it's a Douglas and Harding. And then it has an offensive mod slot right there. So I'm going to get another 4% SMG damage and 1.5 weapon damage. So this bag isn't perfect. I would like to have a higher crit chance there, higher weapon damage roll. But what you want is those 2 reds, though, because you can only have 4 blues. And that's what Douglas and Harding is really good for, those mod slots. So you don't have to worry about going over the 4 blues. So the 4 blues should be on your mask, your chest, your holster, and your backpack. And that's going to put me at 208k health. Now, for the skills, I am running Defender Drone. None of my mod slots are working if you're looking. I just have it there. So it lasts the cooldown, whatever it is. And then the Booster Hive, the same thing. I don't have enough skill power to unlock anything at the moment. So, or well, I don't have mods at the moment to like really like put in there. But yeah, so definitely just so I am running the booster hive and the defender drone. But yeah, this is the build itself. It works really good. I really like it. We're going to go to the stats just so you can see them real quick. Let's dive down into the gun. So the gun base damage, 22.5k weapon damage, 60% crit chance, 62% crit damage, 50% headshot damage, plus the 20% from perfect concussion. Reload times 2.5. We go down, I have 14.5 all weapon damage. SMG damage is at 57%. And I think that's really what you need to know from the build. The crit chance, crit damage. So my goal, once I get this build perfectly spec'd, I should probably be at 60% crit chance, 85% crit damage, probably higher if I get some God roll pieces, right? So that's where I can improve on this build a lot. Like if I could probably get 80-90% critical hit damage easy with this build with God roll pieces, right? And then the health, I could probably push 250, almost 300k health with having like perfect roll pieces. I've seen some really high holster rolls. I've seen some really high health rolls on the mask. I've seen some really high health rolls on the backpack. My chest piece is pretty high, pretty decent. I think this one might go up to 60k. I'm not 100% sure on that one. But yeah, so you could min-max this build and make it that much stronger. But this is how I run my build. I do like the MPX, like I said. You don't have to run this gun. You can run the Vector. I'll let you guys play with that. This is how I run the build. I enjoy it. Like I said, I'm still looking for that Sokolov piece, looking for that perfect concussion piece. Once I get those pieces, I should be around like 60, 80, 60, 90. Maybe, I don't even know if I can get up to 100, but I know like I can at least get 60, 80, 60, 90 with this build. So enjoy it. I hope you guys like it. Leave a thumbs up. But until the next build video, nothing but skills out.